Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I am Wiesel from FoodMexSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. We like to call it Monday Night Football. And right now we have kind of a monopoly in the Monday Night Football because there's no NFL until September. So we're just, we're the only football around, the way they like to call it. But nevertheless, thank you all of you that are watching, especially the ones that are on our chat already, ready to go. For me, it's been a while since I have hosted. I've been gone. I took a little vacation away from the world, away from civilization, and went to a music festival. There was no internet or anything, so I came back not knowing anything. And the joke for today's show is that Cesar and Tom and Jess, you'll get to meet her a little bit, are going to make up something, and I'm going to try to go along with it, and they're going to try to make me look like a fool because I don't know what's happening in Mexican soccer since I came back. But anyways, thanks again for all of you guys that are watching. I'm glad to be back. Glad to get in the grind of things. Lots and lots of news, lots of things that are going to happen and we're going to talk about today. Especially Chicharito, Chichadios, for all you doubters are still, all the poacher lovers that people kept talking about. He's still scoring goals. We're going to talk all about what's happening this summer and his decisions and what his club has made public in the Copa America or the Olympics. Go into the Europeos, Raul Jimenez, get a little bit of a sense on what's happening with all of our Europeos legendarios there in across the pond, and finish off a little Liga MX, throw some Coca Champions in there, Tigres maybe in trouble, Pumas. It's going to be a fun show tonight, Monday Night Football. But first, I want to say thank you to Mr. Cesar Hernandez, who has been a great host, Mr. Cesar. Awesome job, hilarious ending to shows. I cannot,
they weren't supposed to be hilarious. They weren't supposed to be hilarious at all.
I found a way to watch him, and it's just, if you want, awesome laughter, especially after great, football talk, listen, you got to watch the end of the shows. They're hilarious at Cesar. But I'll introduce Mr. Cesar first on our show. Cesar, you got your get-up, you got your flag, you have a piojo. Can you show everybody that little...
Yeah, got that from Estadio Caliente.
There it is. That's piojo. I don't know how long he's going to be in there. Maybe take him out of there. You should get him to sign it, man. You should get him to sign it.
Yeah, but then it'll make me look like a fan. It'll kind of ruin my journalistic integrity. Or maybe I should just quit soccer tomorrow and then just go over as a fan and use my press pass to just try to get as many signatures as possible.
I've heard that that's what happens sometimes. I mean, that's what you gotta do with Cholos. Cesar, how are you? San Diego, ESPN FC, doing amazing. Now you're doing some new work too, writing, right? I saw some articles.
Yeah, just covering a little bit of local San Diego soccer for a blog called Soccer Nation. So I'll be doing a little bit of that if you're looking for any 4th Division NPSL action.
Epic stuff.
Nice.
It is pretty cool though. It is actually I like to make fun of it, but it is actually genuinely I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to go out there to the games, and it's a little bit cheaper than most other matches. So
there you go. You also have a great article on 442 I saw a couple weeks back.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be doing some more work with them this summer. So.
Who never knows? Maybe Cesar will be too big in a couple of years for the Mexican soccer.
Doubt it.
Who is also in Guadalajara, Mr. Tom Marshall, who now has internet, has moved into his new house, and hopefully there are no more of those problems. But Mr. Tom, how are you, sir? And
not bad.
Guadalajara.
Yeah, not bad. Just Cesar made me laugh then with his optimism. You were like, oh, maybe a couple of years you're too big. He's like, doubt it. Absolutely.
I'm just remaining optimistic, Tom.
That's the Mexican soccer for you, We're a humble bunch. But Tom, Guadalajara, normally I come in with, oh my gosh, Chivas and Atlas and what's going on, but there's always something going on. Guadalajara is a city of drama from Mexican football.
Yeah, Chivas all good, Atlas all bad. I mean, pretty much sums it up. Chivas doing really well at the minute, I think. Exciting times, and then obviously Atlas are just a train wreck, really. They're just bumbling along, and obviously the big rumour is that there's going to be loads of changes again this off-season. So, yeah, fun times.
Well, somebody on the chat really wants to talk about Omar Bravo and his future. So you got to add that because that's the 3rd time he's put. Can we talk about Omar Bravo and his future? So we'll make sure we get a little spot for Omar Bravo, Mr. Tom Marshall. Okay. We'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, going over to our guest, brand new on the show. We'd like to welcome Miss Jessica Lopez, who is in Massachusetts. It's almost 10 o'clock for her over there. She currently writes for Remezcla. Jess, how are you? Tell us a little about yourself. Our fans, they like to be creepers, so just be careful. But at the same time, tell us, welcome and what's going on with you in soccer? Who are you? What's going on?
Who am I? Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you guys, hanging tonight, talking Mexican soccer. Been writing and do some liaison work for teams. So most recently I was with the Colombian women's national team, doing some stuff with them, just kind of exploring, collaborating with people all over the soccer world in a lot of different capacities. So excited to be here with you guys tonight.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. As it be a custom, coming into the show, you have to show your allegiance to a team. We see Arsenal in the back, but how about Liga MX? We see a Chivas scarf.
All right, let's see what we got going here. We got Chivas here. We got Columbus Crew action. I was born in Ohio, so we'll take that. We got Arsenal. We got some other stuff. We got the Field House here. All sorts of stuff. But yeah, I would go.
Are you hiding the U.S. men's national team, Chris?
I totally saw her hiding the
U.S. is here. U.S. is here. Arsenal's here. Everything's here.
All right.
But yeah, we gotta go Chivas, Arsenal, Real Madrid. That's it.
All right, well, there you go. Pancho Villa's Army, if you see, Jess does not have a scarf in the back, so if you guys want to donate a nice little your scarf, you can definitely do that to Jess, so she can have one that way. The Mexico scarf. All right, guys, well, there it is. Welcome, Jess, and your first time here at the Mexican Soccer Show. And love to have, obviously, new guests and here in our evolving show that we have. Hopefully, you come back if we're not too much trouble today. But saying hello on the chats at Oakley's WNF Productions, Victor Herrera, Jose Casares, Mr. Salvador Mares, Christopher Ortuño. If you're not on the chat right now, get to a desktop, get to your laptop, and definitely join on. You can ask us some questions. On Twitter tonight usually is Mr. Afrozander live tweeting, but tonight Miss Amy Azteca, she's our intern. She'll be live tweeting. So whoever is on our Mexican Soccer Show account, definitely tweet her your questions, anything what's happening. But let's go ahead and get started with Mexican Soccer Show and go into right what we were talking about, Mr. Chicharito. Guys, Chicharito once again scores 26th goal for for Bayern for his team, 17th in the season if I'm not correct. Again. I think a couple of weeks back we saw a couple of headings saying Chicharito going 3 weeks without scoring, scored last week, scored this week. It's no surprise that on Saturdays you're going to see Chicharito score, and it looks like all of Germany takes notice because he's once again the MVP. And like Cesar said, maybe a voting thing, but at the same time it's good that he has those honors. Multiple honors are in the month. Every time Chicharito scores, it's good for the German league because of all the fans in Mexico. But let's go ahead and talk about the big news. I'll go to Mr. Cesar Hernandez. Everyone talk about Cheech in the last 3 days because of his was saying. Tell us a little bit about the Los Angeles Times article Kevin Baxter wrote. What's going on with Cheech, especially with the Copa America and the Olympics, Mr. Cesar?
Yeah, so the big news that came out was there was an LA Times interview with Kevin Baxter, and I'll say some of the quotes that he said in the interview. He said, the Federation wants me to go to the Copa America. It's not only my decision. It's like 50-50, the decision. The Federation wants me to go to the Copa America, and I decided to go to the Copa America. And then in reference to his club, he said, if we finish fourth, I cannot go to the Olympics. So it's not my decision. And if we finish third, the thing I need to do is preseason. So from that, you can kind of tell that Chicharito wanted. It seems like he really genuinely wanted to go to the Olympics, and it seems like that's something he wanted to do 4 years ago as well. Yeah. But looking from a federation standpoint, even from the Copa America standpoint, Chicharito, he is one of the faces of the competition. He is, the face of the Mexican national team as well. So there is no reason why they wouldn't want him there. So it looks like it's a situation where he wanted to go to the Olympics, and it looks like, as he mentioned, it's not only just his decision. A lot of people were, pulling him over and saying, like, dude, you got to play in the Copa America. And this summer we'll see him in the competition.
Genuinely, I'll ask all of you guys, if you had to choose between Chicharito going to 1 would you pick the Copa America or the Olympics?
Oh.
And this is you. This is you as a fan. This is you maybe as a journalist, however you can. I mean, are you okay with this? Is anybody like, oh, no, I really wanted him to go to Rio? I think everyone's okay with the decision that, him going to the Copa America because obviously the tournament and what it means and everything. Not a big loss if he doesn't go to Rio. So I think the right decision was made.
Can you imagine, like, if Chicharito isn't at the Copa America, they have to take, within the span of a week, all these Copa America people have to take Chicharito and Neymar off of, like, all commercial media stuff. It's like half their thing is just gone.
Like the Copa America office is just like papers flying everywhere and just like, who do we got next? Vela? I don't know. We shouldn't have Vela.
Vela with Chicharito. It's true on a marketing standpoint, Chicharito. I mean, Neymar already said no. Chicharito would be the station specialty to the Copa America. So you bring up a great point, Jess, in the fact that he had to go to Copa America. Tom, I'll ask you. I already know the answer, but his team doesn't make it in the fourth place. Let's say it's fifth or sixth. Would it benefit him to go to Rio? Would his team want him to go to Rio to showcase him a little bit more? And would the Mexican Federation say, why not? If he already did the Copa America, let's say it was a third spot, here comes I think there's going to be players that are going to do both. Would there be, would it be that bad or is there a chance for him to do Rio if his team doesn't make it in the fourth place? Because I feel like he put an emphasis. If my team is in the top four spots, I'll definitely not go. But I felt like he left it open.
No, I mean, I think firstly from the Mexican point of view, I mean, you've got 2 summers now before the next World Cup, and I think everything Mexico should be completely focused on the overall goal, which is at the end of the day reaching a quarterfinal as a minimum in Russia. That is the overriding objective for the whole national team platform. So yeah, obviously it's good to see young players, it's good to see the Olympics, but let's be honest, most teams at the Olympics aren't taking it 100% seriously. You know what I mean? It's not like a competition that there's only 16 teams in it, and of those teams, not many are going to take it very seriously. What I think is that Mexico get very few chances to play competitive games against top teams. Basically, the Confederations Cup and the World Cup, they never really get those chances. So that's why I think this Copa America is absolutely vital. And it's vital for Chicharito to be there, not just from the marketing side. Obviously, the money is going to be good for the federation and the organisers, but from the playing point of view, I mean, Osorio is, if you check out his book, it's he's pretty hardcore, academic in the way he kind of looks at the game and training and stuff, and tactical periodization, juego de posición, he's advanced, and I think that he needs as much time as possible with his players, and I think Chicharito, as the figurehead of this team, as the biggest name in the team, has to, and as somebody who's a bright kid, I think he has to be there. I think 100% he has to be part of that process. There's no way. For me, it was always a no-brainer. It's he had to play the Copa America. Yeah. Now, from his team's point of view, Bayer Leverkusen at the minute are on fire. I mean, they've got a coach that Roger Smith, who's being tipped for massive things. The average age of Leverkusen's starting 11 against Schalke, 23.8 years. I mean, that's amazing for a team that's third in the Bundesliga and they're so young. Chicharito is the second oldest player by a couple of months. I mean, they had 2 players who were 27 years old, all the rest of the team below that. So you go into a new Bundesliga season, whether it's Bundesliga or Champions League, and it's Chicharito's, again, with Leverkusen, the main player. Yeah. They need him. There's no way with everything that's at stake and the amount of money that's at stake that Leverkusen can afford to say, you know what, Chicharito, go to the Olympics for a few weeks, go to Rio, to play in the tournament that realistically in Europe, it's not held in that high esteem, really.
And I know some people feel as if Mexico needs to defend the Olympic title, but I think there is, as Tom mentioned, a key opportunity to go up against very tough competition, and with a lot of Mexico fans in the U.S. I know the Copa America is in the United States, but let's not confuse this. Mexico is going to be the home team in this competition. They will easily be the home team in this competition. So there's a key opportunity for them to do very well and perhaps fight for the title. So I think they need to have Chicharito there. And I think if you look past Chicharito, I mean, what other striker would you have there in the Copa America? You could say Raul Jimenez, but Raul Jimenez is going to Olympics now. Are we going to trust Vela? Are we going to trust Gio? Are we going to trust Lalo Herrera or Polido? Or when you look down that list, I don't feel really comfortable with any of those other options starting for the national team. So it's and as you mentioned, Tom, with this season that Bayer Leverkusen is having, it's it seems like the practical decision is for Chicharito to be taking part in the Copa America this summer.
Let's not forget that also I feel like Chicharito and almost every year there's some kind of small injury that he has. And as we're saying that obviously our main goal is in 2018, there are no breaks. You know, it went from the World Cup to the Gold Cup to Copa America to now the Confederation Cup, and then there you go. So taking 2 summers, as much as he wants to do it, but for some reason I just feel like he really wants to be at the Olympics.
I think with those quotes, it's pretty obvious, yeah.
Yeah, it was known 4 years ago that he couldn't go because of Fergie didn't let him go, and what was happening, and who knows? Would it surprise you if Chicharito all of a sudden does go to the Olympics? Because at the same time, what striker is going to go? I know Raul Jimenez has, and we'll talk a little bit about that. He pretty much said that obviously he's going to the Olympics, but it would not surprise me. We'll see what happens.
But I think like Raul Jimenez and also Tecatito, I think their position is slightly different.
Yeah.
You know, they're a couple of years younger. I don't think they're fully established in Europe. And at the end of the day, they're in the Portuguese league, which is basically, you know, I know they've done well in the Champions League recently, but it's basically a league that, you know, Benfica and Porto that sell players on. And I think that the Portuguese teams really appreciate these like kind of windows of opportunity that the Olympics and the Copa America represent. So, for example, Tecatito and Raul Jimenez, it won't surprise me if they go to both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless there's kind of Porto is somehow saying no, but I definitely see Tecatito. At least as there was a player that I could see going to both would be Tecatito.
I would imagine some of those youngsters. Imagine like maybe Irving Lozano, maybe Pizarro, maybe like as you mentioned Tecatito. I could see those guys taking part in both tournaments.
As far as, you know, obviously we talked about Raul Jimenez, and Raul Jimenez having, I think, 10 goals he already has for Benfica, which...
10 goals and 5 assists in all competitions.
10 goals, you know, a little slow to start for Benfica coming in, and most of the subs scoring, I think coming in 68th minute, scored in the 72nd minute, and doing well. I mean, I think they're starting to see the talent of the Americanista, but all of a sudden, you know, it just feels like our forwards are finally coming, you know, to fruition in what we saw, especially in Europe, except for Marco Fabian. But I like the fact that he's already taking, you know, notice in his team and his playing. And again, a 10-goal season in your first season in Europe, that's really good. I mean, who would, you know? I think usually there's a measuring stick. Will this player score more than 10 goals or not? And obviously, there's still left in the season. So, great job for Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, we'll see. Now he confirmed essentially that he's going to go to the Olympics, and as I mentioned earlier, I think you know, that makes me a little bit worried about the Copa America. Not to go back into the Copa America, because what if Chicharito becomes injured? I think my number 2 option would have been Raul Jimenez, but now he's going to be in the Olympics. So I think that brings up a big. We can have Omar Bravo right there.
We brought Omar Bravo into the conversation in the future.
I guess he did score semi-recently, so back in form, right, Tom?
Back in form. I don't know. You forgot him.
What about? I mean, let's look at our forward situation for Copa America. Alan Pulido. I mean, will he even get a chance? But he maybe go to the Olympics and for what he's doing, and then all the season's over in Greece. Like, what's going to happen now? Tecatito, Carlos Vela, who's at least playing, maybe not making the impact that once Carlos Vela did, but and now Giovanni Dos Santos, who all of a sudden the last 3 weeks is scoring, is looking good, almost giving us a little highlight of what happened in 2011 with his little chip in the MLS. So far, our forwards are scoring, and now it's you know, we're going to see Juan Carlos Osorio kind of see where he wants to split up the squad and what's happening. I feel like obviously the best team is going to be the Copa America team, and I think the Olympic team would just kind of be an afterthought. All right, who else can we bring? Are we really going to have a sub-23 players, and who's lacking in those 3 players that are going to go the overage players? Is going to be a keeper if it's defensive. I'm feeling like a defensive mid because I don't see any in those young guys. That's definitely going to be there. So interesting to see who's going to take up. But having a healthy Gio, and remember, a healthy Gio with the national team has done more than many of the players that are on right now. Then Carlos Vela, obviously, he's been gone. But if you remember Giovanni Dos Santos in the World Cup, or when he puts on La Verde, he shows up when he's healthy. So hopefully Gio can keep playing, and we'll see where it's at. But interesting conversation, especially with the Europeos, and we'll go from there. What is happening with the Europeos? A little bit around of what's going on, especially since the season is kind of ending. Marco Fabian, a little bit of not still controversy, but saying that he will be in the bench, and I don't think he made it to the bench, right?
No, he wasn't on the game day roster, so he didn't even get a chance to be on the bench this weekend. So that kind of heightens those conversations they've had about the coach, the Croatian coach. I completely forget his name. Niko Kovac, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether Niko Kovac is still perhaps does not like Fabian, and I know there's a lot of weird things people are saying, like, oh, perhaps it's just because the game against Mexico in the World Cup. I feel like it's a little weird to be making those kind of judgments, to saying that, like, oh, it's just because of that. It's a little odd thing to say, but at the same time, he's not putting Fabian in the roster, and I don't want to give those comments any kind of more attention, but I know it is a little strange. It is a little strange, yeah.
Memo Ochoa didn't get in either. It wasn't because he he beat Cameroon over Kamendi. I mean, what was his name? But I think we can dismiss those. I mean, if it's true, then if it's true, it's true, and there's no way really to pointing out, the way that they're coming out.
There's no way it's true. There's no way it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a professional guy. He's a professional guy. At the end of the day.
So I mean, but you can not like somebody. You cannot like somebody for because you just don't like them. I mean, look at Bigoton and Cuauhtemoc Blanco. They hated each other. He didn't take them to the World Cup in 2006 because they didn't like each other. And he would have made an amazing. I mean, he would have been a great part of the team, but he didn't. Who knows? You don't like somebody and you're the coach. Sorry. What did you do? I don't know, but. What happens?
I mean, I guess that's kind of interesting because you think about it and you're like, you want to think, oh, all these guys are really great professionals. Any of these little petty rivalries, they wouldn't play into this at all. But at the same time, like you're saying, they're human, so I guess it could have something to do with it. But like, again, I agree with Tom. I feel like it's a pretty absurd thing to actually hold any weight.
Observe to the fact that there are statements from. Marco Fabian saying that when the coach came in, he didn't say hi to him. He's kind of ignoring him, and then his dad comes out and says no, it's because he's Mexican. So I mean, it goes from somewhere.
I guess we can all assume that like it'd be a little weird if that I assume that coach isn't actually racist or anything.
No,
I think that'd be a little weird.
That's a bad term to say because it's not like all Latinos.
Yeah.
It's like, forget your race. No, I mean. Maybe but and then when it came out the whole racism thing, or I think Univision had the story because of the dad. Marco Fabian came out and said, no, it's not. It's I was gone on the break and I love my team, and obviously he had to say that, otherwise there's no way for him coming out of it. But I think those statements from Marco Fabian saying that came to light, that could affect the situation, especially if you're a coach. How we're saying. So hopefully Marco Fabian is not in lost, and maybe he is given a chance, and he comes back from it.
I guess the more serious thing though is that his team might get relegated. It looks like there's a good chance they're not doing very well, and I wonder what his situation is going to be. I don't think he'll stick with the team. I don't think the Fabian's the kind of player who would be willing to play in the second division in Germany. So it'll be fascinating to see where he goes during the summer if the team does get relegated.
Johnny's not here, but in Johnny's spirit, I will say. He's going back to Mexico. Even though I don't think he is, but that's what Johnny would say right now.
Yeah.
But especially, hopefully, Johnny, if you're watching, get better. I know you, Cesar, you went to go visit Mr. Johnny Rico. He had some health problems, and hopefully you get better, buddy. We're all thinking in our thoughts towards you. Jonathan Dos Santos coming back. Didn't really do anything, but obviously back from injury, right, Cesar?
Yeah, no, he's back, and he scored twice. Was it? Ooh, I'm confusing this. Someone remember? He scored twice a couple weekends ago, and then I think he scored once last week.
Wait, Jonathan?
Oh, I thought it was Gio. I'm thinking of Gio right now. I'm thinking of Gio. I'm sorry. I've got Gio in the mind right now. I don't know why. Maybe I've been seeing too many replays of that beautiful goal he scored.
This is when I thought you were trying to make fun of me because I don't know anything about soccer last week. I'm like, no, it's not Gio.
Here's the thing. I feel like. Sorry, hold up.
No, go ahead.
No, go for it. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say on this Gio mark, can we just take a moment to highlight Gio destroying U.S. men's national team goalkeepers like hopes and dreams there, because that goal was the same. Like that goal versus Ramondo was just like the same. He doesn't even have to look around. He just goes and like pops this thing over perfect opposite corner. But again, if you look at those goals back to back, you're just like, wow, dang, like this is a pretty outrageous in comparison in relation to that 2011 Gold Cup one.
He scored a goal like that. Yeah, he obviously did the Gold Cup goal, but then he also scored one in the I think sub Canada. I think it was the Olympic, not the Olympics, the World Cup, sub 20 World Cup, where it was kind of away from the box, where he's not looking, and all of a sudden he turns around. I think it was nominated for a goal of the tournament. But he has this vision. It looks like he doesn't need to look where the it looks like such a easy shot, just a little quick chip, but I mean, it is time and time and again. It's like the placement of the ball is incredible, and I think you've seen that from Gio before.
I think what's interesting now with Gio is like, okay, so what are we now, like end of April? The squad list for the Copa America, you assume he's going to be out 3 weeks. You know what I mean, or maybe 4 weeks. So what does Giovanni Dos Santos have to do from now to then to get a place in the squad? Because obviously he seems to have found some form. He's scored a couple of great goals, a couple of the old MVPs and all that. But what does he have to do from now and then to get into Osorio's squad?
Unfortunately for him, he just has to keep playing at that level. I feel like he doesn't really have room for mistakes. It seems like a lot of people give him a lot of criticism for playing in the league. I think sometimes it's unjustified too for the criticism he gets. And I've mentioned this before. It's when he isn't scoring or isn't playing well in MLS, everybody kind of gives him a hard time for playing in MLS. But even when he is scoring in MLS, I feel like he still gets the same amount of criticism.
I think people everyone was congratulating Gio. I mean, he's scoring. Gio's in good form right now. He's scoring those golazos. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Look at Cubo Torres. Yeah. I mean, when you're comparing him of someone that's been in the MLS and he's doing what he's doing, he's making an impact with his team. So far, so good. The only thing that he will get back is the fact that he's not playing for the half of the season, just like when he was coming back in because of the and then he got injured. Now the season's over, barely. He's starting to show in the midseason in MLS, and now here comes the summer tournament. So just like Tom said, what does he have to do? I think he's gonna go. I didn't think hopefully Gio has enough talent. I think people are forgetting about him just because he made the MLS decision, which I still think it was a wrong decision. But
I think Osorio, although I don't think he'd ever properly say it publicly, really didn't like that. He did a press conference, Osorio, in Colombia last week, and it was like, I feel like because he was speaking to the Colombian press, he kind of let his guard down a little bit, and he started talking about Mexico, and he said, Mexico got like basically the difference between Mexico and Brazil and Argentina isn't in the first, I think he was said like 17 or 18 players in the squad. It's like behind that. It's like Brazil and Argentina have got depth that goes way beyond those 23 players. Now he also said that what he wants to do is give players that are going from less to more. You know what I mean? And I think reading between the lines, Lozano, Pizarro, the players who are likely to make that jump to Europe, rather than the ones who aren't doing that. And he didn't mention him by name, but it's just the thing that sprung to mind was Giovanni. I mean, he's gone from Villarreal, challenging for the Champions League in Spain, to LA Galaxy. I mean, I just don't think it fits in with Osorio's vision of how he sees this national team.
No,
I think he'll be there.
I mean, at the same time, though, even if he makes it to the Copa America squad, I can't really see him as a starter either. I mean, I think, you can even say someone like Gio or Vela would still be on the bench. I would still rather have him on the bench in comparison to, say, someone like Tecatito or Chucky Lozano.
Gio's going to make an amazing Copa America. You guys are all going to be like, oh, he's going to make another golazo. When Gio puts on the shirt in an important tournament, Gio delivers.
I think Gio is still an excellent option off the bench. But I think that's at this point. I think that's what he is. I don't think he's a starting player, but I think
I would. It's kind of weird where he would even start in Osorio's kind of system. He's not a 10. He never really was. Is it Marco Fabian's spot? Is that where Gio would go? Has he lost? And I'm sorry, I haven't watched many of the games. Does he still have his speed? Because Gio, his speed was what was amazing, and then obviously he cuts to the right and he shoots. But the famous Gio move. But I mean, does he still have that? Because that's what he had. So it'll be interesting to see where he even comes in.
Yes. Question: you're Osorio right now. You take Gio or no?
I think I would say yes. I take him. I mean, if I'm actually JCO, it's a tough one because I feel like because he's in the MLS, I kind of have this vision of like, oh, he needs to be putting out some outrageous. He just needs to be scoring a ton of goals for me to take him. But in the same light, when I'm thinking about this in relation to, say, Chicharito gets injured, something like that, that is a person who I think could come in and with the experience that he has in this big, just going to be in the limelight in this Copa America, I think I would take him, given current form.
I agree. I think just like, I mean, I know it's been a while since we've seen Gio in Europe, and maybe it feels like a long while, but like I still feel like he has that pure talent. I feel like I've seen like flashes of that brilliance from Gio, and coming off the bench, I think he could still be a key player and do something special for Mexico if needed. I mean, until then, I think he as I mentioned, he should still be a bench option.
We still haven't seen Jonathan and Gio together.
Here's the thing. Okay, so this goal that he scored against Real Salt Lake this past weekend, if he can still do that I was actually watching a video today. It was random. I think it was like Barcelona against Murcia from like 2008 or something like that. And it was the same exact goal, that same exact chip. If he's still doing that from, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I mean, he's got to have some of it still, Got to be able to, even just coming off the bench, to be able to produce that one moment of magic.
I guess that's just the problem with Gio, though. I mean, we've mentioned it a lot before. It's just like we see it and we get excited. We're like, yes, Gio just scored this amazing goal, and then it's just months, sometimes long time before you see that again. And it's unfortunate, but yeah, I think I would still have him in the roster.
Gio will go. Or maybe he goes to the Olympics, repeats it again.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Olympics.
Repeats it again. All right, keep going with the Europeos. The Porto guys. Layud still injured.
Ochoa,
yeah.
Ochoa. Oh my God.
That's not the Porto guys.
I think one of us watched the game. I followed the game on my phone, but I think just you. It seems like
I watched it.
There you go.
I actually watched the game because I was at a place that actually had the game, but it was doing a great atajada that he did, and then obviously the goal in there. But Jess, you watched the game with Memo Ochoa?
I watched the game. Also, just the Real Madrid fan part of me was just dying for Ochoa to hold Atleti to 0-0 draw at least. And he played fantastic. He had some really amazing saves in the first half, and then the only way that Atleti ends up getting through him is with that Correa deflection in the 62nd or something like that. But aside from that, he was strong, and he had that kind of brick wall force field that no one loved when you see him out there getting minutes, So I don't know. It was just exciting to see him back in that big game, because that was a very important game for Atleti too, and to have to go up against them and just kind of super crazy atmosphere too. You had that ball that was thrown out on the field as Malaga was going for a counter, just crazy
I saw
stuff
that.
like that. Yeah. So it was just a sweet environment for him to be back, and I thought he did well to only have to go 1-0 against Atleti when you're Malaga and to have it be off of a deflected shot. That was good stuff. So I was shout out. Also,
Malaga were away too, if I remember correctly.
Is this
yeah. At the Vicente Calderon.
This is his first goal conceded, right?
Well, technically, I mean, the first game he came in not as a starter, he allowed 3 goals immediately. Yeah, that's something it's something we all kind of ignore. We're like, yeah, let's not talk about that game. And then he did really well in his starts.
Starter.
It happened.
Starting his only goal he's conceded as a starter in what he's going for. But Memo Ochoa playing and he's doing it well, and he's showing obviously his class in what he was 2 years ago. Memo Ochoa keeps doing the same thing he's doing, and towards the end of the year, you have Talavera, you have Corona, you have Ochoa. And there's our wonderful...
With Picolín.
Picolín, of course. There's our wonderful, our dilemma of who to take where. Ochoa, if he's doing what he's doing, following Piojo, when Ochoa wasn't playing and going in, and obviously it was a big deal that he named him over Corona. So I think we're heading into, again, some controversy but it's a good problem to have with the Mexican national team. I think it's good to have Talavero here.
It wouldn't be the Mexican national team heading to in a major tournament without the goalkeeping controversy.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Always.
Seriously.
Is this? I mean, the good thing is, I think they're all almost around the same age. You know, it's not like someone that's younger that okay, go ahead and give it. Like Osvaldo Sanchez, and we had Memo Ochoa still too young, or unless El Conejo comes back. El Conejo comes back at age 30. 29, I don't know.
70. Last I checked, I think he was 73. Last I checked.
65.
Oh yeah, 65. My bad.
Conejo Perez is still doing what we're doing, but interesting enough. All right, guys, to kind of finish off the Europeo talk, what we're doing, obviously, Alan Pulido's scoring, and now he's done. The Greek League is won, and see what happens. Hopefully, interesting to see if you really believe in what he did. We know his talent and what's coming up, but other news, Europeos, Cesar, anything else that we should mention?
Yeah, sorry, but I kind of got us off on a little bit of a tangent there because you wanted to talk about Jonathan Dos Santos, and then my head was elsewhere, and I was talking about Gio. But Jonathan, yes, he's back from injury. Actually, Villarreal took on Villarreal and Jonathan Dos Santos took on Real Sociedad. So there were 3 actually Mexicans on the pitch over the weekend in that match, and even though it ended 0-0, it looked like Diego Reyes definitely had a good game for Real Sociedad. And Carlos Vela, I mean, he wasn't able to score, but once again, he wore the captain's armband for the squad. So if we're looking for any kind of, maybe some sort of silver lining in Carlos Vela's season, is that he is being captain this season. Maybe something I was a little bit oblivious to beforehand. Maybe he had a little bit more of the captain armband beforehand in the previous seasons, but I feel like I've seen it a little bit more in this season. But that match ended in a 0-0, and it's good to see Jonathan Dos Santos back. He's healthy. He had a little bit of a cameo role in the second half, but as Naive pointed out online on Twitter, I think they're saving him for the Europa League semi-final match against Liverpool, the first leg this Thursday. And I'm genuinely excited for that one. I sometimes I don't get too excited for the Europa League, but I feel like that's almost on par. Like Villarreal versus Liverpool, to me that's a really exciting game right there that we'll be seeing this week.
Because the big teams are sucking so much that they go to the Europa League. Let's be honest.
But yeah, I'll just say really quickly about the Europeos. We had the Porto guys. They beat Academica 2-1. Layun, I mean, if anybody was wondering, Miguel Layun was injured, so that's why he wasn't playing. And then we had Hector Herrera de Catito, who played most of the match. And then
not really doing anything big. Kind of reading of just not like a normal game. He tried to do a couple players, and that's pretty much it. That was his highlight.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much like Tecatito anyways. Yeah. Every now and then he'll provide a moment of brilliance. But I think the other one too is we gotta give a little shout out to Raul Gudinho too. I mean, even though he lost, I think it's really exciting to see a 19-year-old, I think he's still 19-year-old Mexican goalkeeper, even if it's in Portugal, where it's a little top heavy with those teams, to see him playing out there. And his team lost Madeira. They lost 2-0 to Sporting. Yeah. But I'm just glad that there is a 19-year-old Mexican goalkeeper outside of Mexico getting minutes abroad in a respectable league as well. It may not be the best in Europe, but yeah.
There it is. All right, well, that's our Europeo wrap up. Cubo Torres, not even coming on, right? It's on the bench. I mean,
is that in Europe?
Not Europeo. Like people outside, people were talking about it on the chats, but Cubo Torres not doing well. All right, what's going on in the chats? Wiso is in love with Gio, but I put that in a very kind way, in the way that it's here on the chat. So, because I don't think I could mention what they said. I agree with Tom. Brazil and Argentina have better depth than Mexico. You can make 3 different national teams with them. Gio plays in a crap league. Puro Troncasa with Gio.
Straight up there.
Yeah,
Someone said, the way Cesar says Porto, my God. Ellipsis.
Ernesto Vega is killing it. No one cares about the dumb chip Gio can still do. Yeah, so it's fun at the chat, and we obviously all the criticism, and it's all fun and games, and it's hilarious, especially when Johnny's not on the chat, so Johnny on the show, so it's funny. He's 19. He's already playing first division. That's true. Hopefully they keep giving him some chances. 4-3. So fun times. Get on the chat and give us what we're having. So this kind of takes us over to Conca Champions, guys. Last week we didn't have a Mexican Soccer Show Express. I was sick. if you still feel my voice a little bit, still a little sick from there. But yes, I think everyone was looking for maybe a 1-0 Tigres. I saw maybe some ties. I didn't see that many America predictions of winning, especially 2-0. What is happening to Tigres? Especially, coming up, and they might not make it to the Club World Cup, which we wanted to see at Ginac. Tom, what's going on? I'll take your specialty. Should we be really worried for what's happening with Tigres? And we'll talk a little about Liga MX a little later, but especially Conca Champions, or is this the America that we've been waiting for? Nacho Ambriz, instilling those players, just a great, great offense. Should we be surprised of what's happening, especially with Tuca's team?
I think with Tigres, yeah. I mean, it's a surprise because I think we said before the season started, and you look at player for player, and there's such a good team, and it's difficult to explain what's happened. I mean, I think I'd say it's down to tiredness. I mean, they played the final last time, they played the Copa Libertadores last summer. A lot of the players haven't had a proper break, and I think it's all catching up with them. One thing I would say is, though, and I think Tuca Ferretti maybe can take a little bit of blame, is you look at the strength of the Tigres squad. You look at the youth system that they've got, because they have invested in the youth system. You just never see the players because Ferretti doesn't give them a chance. And you're like, why hasn't he moved the players? Why hasn't he, given the youngsters a bit of a chance, or given the reserves a bit of a chance? I mean, Jurgen Damm's not playing well at the minute.
No.
And, you've got Damian Alvarez on the bench, and why not throw him on then? Why not give Gignac a game's rest, or Sobis? It seems like every week he puts out the same team, Ferretti, and even this weekend, against who was it? Who did he play last weekend for Tigres? Against Santos. It was the same team, and he was the same team in the CONCACAF Champions League against America. It'll be the same team on Wednesday night. You just guarantee it, and it's like, what? I just don't understand why he hasn't given Bresenio more of a go, or just switched it up a bit, giving the players a bit of a rest.
Or even someone like, just if we're talking about young player like Segunda Premier Espericueta, like he can play at that level. Yeah, I think that's a key player as well that you could mention who should be given more minutes. But
when was the last time he played?
Probably with Villarreal B.
Yeah, with Villarreal B. It's the last time I saw him take a kick.
I mean, he's 21 now. He's been on the bench and stuff, but it's the same with Bresenio. It's like he's always on the bench, and he's 22 now. He's like 22 years old, and you want to be getting proper minutes behind you. You want to be playing week in, week out, because that's whatever job you do, that's where you learn your trade when time. And then, but obviously Ferretti's just stuck with what he thinks is the best 11, and that's it. And I thought America were brilliant last week. I thought they just absolutely played Tigres at their own game. They just gave up possession of the ball. They just said, right, you have the ball, and then as soon as we get it, we're going to hit you. And they did real damage, and they looked dangerous every time they went forward. Andrade, I thought, were really good. And then obviously Sambuesa was just a genius. I mean, he's just the level of intelligence, football intelligence that he has is brilliant. I mean, he knows when to go down. He knows to, he knows when to shoot, when to pass. He's just very clever the way he plays the game, and it was too much for why Tigres team.
Yeah, especially with just kind of disappointed on Ferretti not capitalizing on that first game, but obviously the second leg's coming up. Would it surprise you if a Gignac scores a hat trick and it finally clicks again, and Tigres has that same team that we're seeing?
I mentioned this last week that Tigres don't know if they're going to make the playoffs or not, and I also said I feel as if with the roster that Tigres have, they should have at least one title this season. So recognizing the fact that they may not be making it into Liga, who knows what's going to be happening in those last few weeks. Perhaps they should push. Maybe they should have a little bit of motivation to do a little bit better. Then again, that's the exact same thing that I said last week, and we saw how that game went as well. So
interesting. They don't make it to the Liga. They lose the final. Will we be seeing a Tuca Ferretti in trouble with his job? Is this something that I know people are starting to talk about, especially in the way that it downfall from last and the talent they have? In my opinion, Tuca has done a ton for Tigres. I don't see him going, but are those conversations going to begin if they can't make the Liguilla and also lose in that final?
I feel like I don't see him going, but also, like, it seems like he's been found out in a way, or just has to switch up tactics somehow, because how can a team dominate possession so much and yet still not be able to produce enough offensive power to win these games? Like, they dominated possession again against Santos, and yet they lost 2-1. And, like, they still have a lot of that same offensive force that they had, and they still have these guys like Gignac who could have potential to net a hat trick whenever the heck they want, you know? So it's like, I don't know, a mix of just like an exhausted team and not only tired players, but a little bit tired tactics maybe.
Yeah, it's tough to say because I mean I feel as if I've been talking about weeks like they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna bounce back. Even with with my articles for ESPN with like the top 5 things to watch. I feel there have been 3 or 4 weeks in a row I've been like, oh, watch out for Tigres. They're gonna bounce back. They have the roster, but in reality, no, they have it. So I in the back of my mind, I feel as if they are going to, like, something can click. They're gonna immediately score. They're gonna win. I mean, they could win 5-1 on Wednesday, and then over the weekend they're gonna score like 10 goals the next couple of weeks, and then crash in the Liga. But I really don't know anymore. It's a little tough to predict, and you do think of those things that Tom has said, where the team is a little tired. I mean, you see Pumas right now; they're struggling. They are doing well in the Copa Libertadores. I mean, that's definitely something they're doing a little bit better in, but they're also struggling after basically having no break from the last season.
Interesting to see what really happens in the Tuca, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if Gignac scores 3 goals and all of a sudden, Tigres wins, and there you go. And then they're into the Liga, and hopefully that, like you keep saying, Cesar, it keeps clicking. Another team that doesn't click again, we can kind of go into the Liga MX, is Pumas. It feels like Pumas and Tigres now looking at the, at the table, they might not make it to the Chivas is in the top 8. It's a step back at the beginning of the year, and I would tell you that Chivas is on the top 8, making it to the Liga, and Pumas and Tigres not making it. Total surprise, but guess what? That is Liga MX, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter, as long as you make it to the top 8. But let's talk about the Liga MX. Dos jornadas más, correct? And what we're seeing in those top 8. Surprises, Jess, Tom, to you guys, and looking at the way things are going. Obviously, lots that can happen in the next 2 weeks, especially with all the changes and wins. Some can get out or in, but officially, there's only how many teams are fully in that cannot be taken out in the last 2 weeks? Jess is saying 3.
I think 3, right?
Yeah,
yep.
3 100% confirmed, but
Monterrey,
Pachuca and León as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Monterrey, America, Santos, and then Pachuca and León. They need a ridiculous kind of series of results to not make it. So I think they're in as well. So it's those last 3 places. I think you got Chivas, Morelia, Pumas, Tigres, Cruz Azul, and Toluca.
And Puebla, I think Puebla's up there too, right? I think Puebla, they still have a little bit of a chance.
Yeah, after their win, but yeah, I mean, you look at it, and I think Santos Laguna have done amazingly well because Ubeldia's only he looks about 15, and he's he's coming into the Mexican League.
Yeah, dude.
He's got the clothing style of a 15-year-old too. He wears tighter pants than me. Sometimes I feel like I wear tight pants. I look at that guy. I don't understand he's able to walk around.
Mexicans are ladies and gentlemen, in the fashion of Cesar, yes.
You can't imagine Thomas Boy walking around with those trousers, can you?
Time out. Where did you guys did he come out before the game? Am I missing this? Did something happen?
No, just like you'll see when he stands up and he's yelling, it's like he looks
Got it.
It looks like he's part of an emo band from 2001. With those pants right there. So.
He was at Coachella. I saw him there.
Anyway, no, yeah, Santos has done really well. I mean, I think his first season in Mexico, and he's won 8 out of the 15 games.
But there's that.
He's not scored a lot of goals, but
there's that Santos, mentality of the whole, federation. Not federation, but all of the club doing things well again. You know, it's that mentality. I know, Tom, that you always kept talking, you know, when we talk about, you know, teams that are doing well and looking for and taking a gamble and hiring the right coaches. Santos, again, I mean, who would have thought, right, of the way he's doing it in the way that team and that club does things well. So,
I mean, you've got Santos in third, and then for me, you've got teams that I think pay a lot more in wages. You know, Tigres 9th, Cruz Azul 10th. Cruz Azul pay massive wages. Like, you know, Atlas at bottom, and they pay the players pretty well as well. It's like, you know, why is Santos third and those teams are down there? Why is Santos consistently in the Liga and winning titles? I mean, you go back to like 2011 and you look at the amount of finals that Santos have made, and it's like they're punching way above the weight in terms of what you know, a team from Torreon should be doing. And I think, I mean, I've said it before, I think they're the like vanguard of Mexican football. Them and obviously Grupo Pachuca.
Yeah. Speaking of teams that don't pay their players, did you guys watch the Clásico of not playing players last weekend with Puebla and Chiapas?
Not playing players.
Yeah, that was quite the Clásico there. Well, whoever wins gets to pay their players, or whoever loses. It was interesting to see that matchup of the Clásico of not playing your players. That should be named.
I think that was I assume you're talking about Puebla, Chiapas.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just put it out there. But actually, I thought that was a little bit of an interesting match because out of those teams, they were both fighting for the last little chance to actually qualify for the Liga. Like, if there was a little bit of hope for them to actually qualify, they had to win that game. Puebla ended up walking away with that victory, and because of that, they still have a little bit of a chance. I'm not saying they're gonna make it in the Liga. They're probably one of the least likely teams to be going up there. But through that win, they do have a little bit of a momentum, and you've seen them before. Like Puebla, I don't know how, but they're kind of one of those teams like in the last season too, where like somehow you see them in 6th, 7th, or 8th place, and you just wonder like what are you guys doing there? Like how'd you sneak in? Like who let you through? I'm not gonna say they're gonna finish in the top 8, but there is a chance.
Who shouldn't be there?
I mean,
I keep looking at Monarcas. I keep looking at Morelia. Like, how's Morelia that high? You know, and they can make it. Interesting, the matches that we're gonna see. So obviously Pumas is still there. Tigres 9th, Cruz Azul 10th, and the points that they have: Cruz Azul at 19, Tigres 20, Pumas 21, Monarcas 22, Guadalajara 22. Those are the ones that are probably obviously changed. So 3 spots that they can look for, and then looking at the matches, which makes it really interesting. You know, especially because where am I at? Guadalajara, you know, obviously has Dorados, but Dorados is still fighting. They're not going away. So
like somebody didn't tell them that they were relegated already. It's like over the weekend, no one told them they're relegated. Like maybe the coach didn't tell them. They'd be like, "No, guys, we got another week. We got this." I don't know.
No, I mean, I think the players at Dorados are fighting for the futures. I mean,
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
They want the wages. If you're in the first division, you get paid really well. If you're in the second division, it's not so good. I mean, they're absolutely desperate to prove themselves over these last few weeks. I'm sure their agents will be kind of, going around the clubs, knocking on some doors, saying, this guy's good. Get him in there. But I think the club. I know you mentioned Tigres, but I think the most disappointing club has been Cruz Azul. I mean, the way they started the season with Tomas Boy, they've now lost the last 3. They've only scored 1 goal over the last four games. I mean, you look at the quality that's in that Cruz Azul team. Victor Vázquez, the best player in the Belgian league last season, Massa and Corona in goal, and you're like, how are they? How have they been so poor? It's really something. It's difficult to explain what has happened in the last few weeks. It seems like it's kind of imploded. Tomas Boy is. I don't know what's happened with Cruz Azul, but they're playing Toluca at the weekend. Obviously, Toluca in the Libertadores, so that might make it easier. But I think they finish against Tigres. So Cruz Azul have got 2 absolutely massive games coming up, and the way they're playing, you can't see them. I mean, you can't see him making the Liga, which would be, another disaster for him.
Well, maybe Tomas Boy should not be playing Massa as a striker.
Honestly, the way that they lost over the weekend, too, was just absurd. Like, just ridiculous, in terms of their set-piece defending. Was so... It's like these problems that seem like it's like, all right, I don't know if it's that the players aren't super motivated, but things like tracking runs for that second one on that throw-in or whatever, tracking runs, or just, like, super basic set-piece defending that you look at that goal and you're like, how could that possibly go in?
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
on the first goal, everyone looked completely asleep on that first goal. So yeah, no, that's an excellent point.
And I was like, oh, all right, down 1-0, sweet. It's like, it's crazy.
I love that. Very cruise with the long throws.
Right? Wow, the throw too.
Stoke of the Mexican League.
Actually, though, that's great.
Well, we're looking at the fixtures that are coming up, obviously, in the weekend. So Querétaro, Pumas, Tijuana, which pretty much out, but Puebla has something to still prove. Monterrey, America would be an interesting game. It's at the top of the fixtures. Tigres has Veracruz, who I don't think Veracruz can still can make it in, but obviously Tigres. León, Pachuca should be a good game. Not anything really played for León. And obviously Pachuca already in. Morelia and Santos. Morelia still fighting a spot. Chiapas, Atlas.
That is going to be depressing.
That's going to be interesting to see what...
Chiapas Atlas is going to be depressing. That's my prediction. Bottom two teams. Chiapas don't even get paid. Atlas just don't even want to play anymore. They just want the end of the season.
Tom wants both teams to lose.
The Chiapas players are like, hey, you're paying them, pay us. They don't have to play. And then Cruz Azul, Toluca, and Guadalajara Dorados. So interesting matchups before the last final jornada in what you're seeing. Hopefully lots of changes in those bottom four of the top 8 teams. But again, it's a liguilla. We'll see. I still think hopefully Cruz Azul can make it in the top 8, and we'll see where that goes. It'd be. But one of them is not. I mean, if it's Tigres, if it's Pumas, it's Cruz Azul. Those are pretty big news. One of them is not going to make it.
Yeah, I feel like the current top 8. So the current top 8, I think, are gonna stay the same. I can't see. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about Tigres sneaking back in, and in Cruz Azul, I mean, as you mentioned, they have a little bit of a tough schedule. So and Morelia, I think they have a little bit of an easy schedule, and I think Chivas have a little bit of momentum as well. So.
Yeah, I just worried about Morelia. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know they've got a good few results going on.
It's like nobody
going
wants
up against Santos.
Let's be honest.
No. And then the other one's Pumas.
Yeah.
Like,
Pumas in the Libertadores. They got to travel down to Táchira in Venezuela, and I think they've got to go to Caracas, and then they've got to go on a massive bus journey. I mean, it's not easy to play in the Libertadores, and I just hope the Pumas focus on the Libertadores at this stage.
Yeah.
I really just hope they,
Yeah, sure.
I hope they prioritize it, because I think there's a kind of there's been a little change of mentality in Mexico over the last few years, where I think a lot of the teams at least are desperate to become the first to win the Libertadores.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a club like Pumas, who are massive, and you've got Toluca, who I think is this year or next year they've got the Centenario.
I'm not entirely sure.
You know what I mean? So I think both of those teams are going to be focusing on the Libertadores. But yeah, Chivas, I think, with a win this weekend against Dorados are through. And just a quick point, we didn't quite mention it, but Pachuca against Chivas, I just absolutely love that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not sure we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, I mean, you got Alonso, I think he's 41 years old, the Pachuca manager. Almeida, 42, and you look at the style of play that both the teams are just absolutely at each other. High pressing, really trying to suffocate the other team. And I was like, man, if you want an advert for Mexican football with the younger players coming through as well, that game is probably it. I mean, that is probably the best advert you're going to get for not just what happened on the field, but the style and the aggression and the youth involved.
Wow, I can't believe we're talking about Chivas being the best. So much has changed after 3 weeks ago.
I mean, let's talk about this. Yeah, let's.
You made it. You made it. Now the positive Chivas is here.
It's a little bit of a weird time. Let's see who's going to win the EPL title. Donald Trump is somehow going to become a Republican candidate. Chivas doing well. Like I'm not entirely sure what year it is. What's going on right now?
What is happening? I left in time work. All right, guys. Well, we're running out of time. Great to be back on the show. Thank you so much to our guest, Jess. Jess, where can we find you on Twitter? What's going on? What do you have? Tell us.
You can find me. I think I still have my thing down there, don't I? Do I have my little thing?
Your Twitter is not on there.
Oh, it's not there. At JLoArsenal. Super easy. I'm always there. You can chat me. talk, whatever, just hang. But yeah, so I'll be there. Hopefully, be back. Great to talk with you guys. Thanks again for having me on today.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jess, for joining on. And you're definitely welcome to come back and talk all about Chivas and Arsenal. Mr. Tom, thank you, Tom. Staying in Guadalajara. I'm sure you're going to start getting ready to travel coming up in June with Copa America and all of that. So if you get to see Mr. Tom, if you're going to any of the games, say hello to Mr. Tom Marshall. He's always there. Cesar, don't talk to him. He's usually periscoping anyway.
Oh, dude, it's the worst when you travel with Tom. Like he's like, oh, the fans, mate. Like I don't like the fans, mate. I just like to avoid him. That's actually verbatim what Tom told me.
No.
That's verbatim what Tom. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Tom loves to mix it with the fans just as much as I do. So I'm just giving Tom a hard time.
Next time you see Tom, just give him a beer. Don't even ask him. Just be like,
there you go.
Give a beer. Mr. Cesar, now in San Diego. Cesar going to a lot of Cholos game, doing a lot of stuff in San Diego. Good for you. Getting Piojo's toys and finally rearranging your background that we see the video of Mexico. But what I have missed are your shirts, bro. Where have you been? You got all these collared shirts. It's like you usually have your Mexico shirt on anymore.
I'm just trying to be a little bit professional every now and then. So I do every now, but I am still wearing like a backwards baseball cap. So maybe I'm not that professional. So I don't know.
Good. Guys, thank you so much for being on the chat. All of you that stuck around till the end. I know there's some people that said I'm leaving. These guys are not talking what I want to hear, so they left, but they're still there. So everyone's talking about on the chat. So guys, for all of you guys that are listening to us later on, thank you for listening to us. Please follow us on our Facebook and also on Twitter, Mexican Soccer Show. Love to get fans. If you have not subscribed on the YouTube channel, please do so. It's somewhere around there, I think, or down there or somewhere like that. I don't know where it's at, but please subscribe. This has been the Mexican Soccer Show. If you have any questions, you can always email us at themexicansoccershow@gmail.com, or who uses email? Just tweet us and one of us will answer, all of us that have it there. Again, Mr. Johnny Rico, to you, please get better, and saying hello to Mr. Naeem Moran and also Jason Markowitz, who joined our awesome podcast that we have. That's it from me. We'll be on the Mexican Soccer Show Express on Thursday and back on next Monday, hopefully giving you guys more news of what's happening with Copa America and all the players. Hopefully we'll all start already seeing the team. Tom is laughing at something, and I'm a little bit nervous as to why he's laughing. You know what, Tom, go ahead, and you're going to end the show. Go ahead, finish us off.
It's not even good. It's a grammatical joke.
That's it, guys. All right, Jess, thank you again, and Mr. Cesar, thank you again, and we'll see you guys on the next Mexican Soccer Show.